All right, so we are finishing up with week 3. Let's go ahead and jump on the scale and see where you guys stacked up last week.
Rosie Mercedes, 154.6 pounds.
Aya, 238.8. Carmen, 249.8.
I do have some standings here. In 6th place, down 6.2 pounds, 2.53%, Anya.
Yay.
Which, by the way, is crazy.
It's crazy.
Think about it. You are preggers. You are pregnant. Your body is building a baby. And you're down 6.2 pounds in 3 weeks.
Crazy.
Like, amazing job. Amazing job. Your blood pressure has been consistently going down. Like, oh, so proud of you. Awesome job. You know, it's one thing to do it normally. It's a whole nother thing when your body's making a baby to do it. So in 5th place, down 10.5 pounds, 3.57%, Miss Angela. In 4th place, down 8.3 pounds, 3.59%, Svetlana.
Yay.
In 3rd place, moving up here, down 12.5 pounds, 4.76%, Miss Carmen. She was actually our biggest, I think you were our biggest loser this week, Carmen. You lost 5.8 pounds this week. So awesome job. Awesome job. Awesome job. Here's the thing. We never know when our big drops are going to come. It's just doing the things. And as this process goes on and as you're weighing yourself, you will start to learn your body. I always had 2 weeks out of the month that were my biggest drops. And then the other 2 weeks were just okay. But if I would have reacted to the little drops by not doing the things and being frustrated, I never would have had the big drops. Does that make sense? And so awesome job, Carmen. In 2nd place, down 11.4 pounds, 6.86%, Rosie. So even with her not having the performance she wanted this weekend, she didn't gain weight this week. So that was a gift from God. So good job. And in 1st place, down 15.6 pounds, 7.51%, Miss Katie. And so new decades this week, we have 2 new decades. Carmen is in the 240s. And Anya is in the 230s. All right, so this week, we are going to be talking about habits. Because first we form our habits, and then our habits form us. So we are at where we're at because of our habits. And if we take a look at what a habit is, the definition of a habit is a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. A habit is a routine behavior that is repeated and tends to occur subconsciously. So it means we do it without even thinking, okay? It's a fixed way of thinking, willing, or a feeling acquired through previous repetition of a mental exercise. So the way we think produces our behavior. And when we think a certain way, so many times it becomes a habit. Now, there's all different kinds of research out there that says it takes 21 days to form a habit. There's research that says 21 to 80 some days it takes to form a habit. I believe a lot of that depends on the kind of habit you're trying to create. Like if you want me to create a habit of eating ice cream every day, that might only take 21 days. But if it's a habit of trying to stop eating ice cream, that might take a little longer. right? So
Yeah.
depending on the habit, what
Yeah.
I've found is in anything that we don't want to do, it typically takes around 60 days to form a habit. And so the way we form a habit is, I want you to imagine if you're walking through the woods, and the first time you walk through the woods that's never been walked through, there's trees and there's brush and there's limbs and there's all these things that are kind of in your path. But if you walk that same path every day for 60 days, after a while, what starts to happen? You wear a path.
Yeah.
The stuff stops growing, right? Anybody else can look at, if you walk through it once, no one's going to look at it and go, oh, that's a path. But if you walk through it 60 straight days, someone's going to be like, hey, there's a path. Where's this go? And so once you do something over and over and over again in your brain, it creates a super highway. A super highway only gets created when you do something over and over and over and over and over again. Because let me ask you this. What if you walk through a path? See, it's not walking through a path 60 times. Because if I walk that path twice a year for the next 30 years, can anyone tell I've been walking it? No, I still walked it 60 times, but it wasn't consecutive. So I can't do something once a week for 60 weeks and expect that it's going to become a habit. It's doing something for 21, 30, 40, 50, 60 days straight in a row. That's when it becomes a superhighway. That's when we get to a point where we're doing it subconsciously without thinking about it. And we all do this, right? Think about it. Like some of you, when you're making your kids lunch, you've nibbled on it so much that some of you, I know inside of this program, have been making someone else food and you put something in your mouth and you're like, oh crap, I'm not supposed to eat this. But you did it without even thinking, right? Or there's times where we're driving to work. How many of you ever driven someplace that you've done it 100 times, 200 times, 300 times, and you get there and you cannot recall making the turns? You just know you got there and you're like, oh, that's scary. I don't even remember getting here, because you were so focused in thought, or you were listening to something, or you were preoccupied thinking about something else. And so all of these healthy habits that we're trying to create right now, they're not habits. Right now, they're just actions. Right now, it's just activity. But the only way that it becomes a habit is to do it again and again and again and again, over and over and over. Repetition is the mother of skill. And if we do something, if we repeat something enough time, it becomes a habit. It becomes a superhighway in our head. And so if first we form our habits and then our habits form our life, the first thing we've got to do is recognize what habits do we currently have that aren't going to get us, that are fighting against us. Because some of you have probably figured out there's this thing that's fighting against, there's fluffy habits that are currently battling the healthy habits. And we all have fluffy habits. We know what habits we have by where we're at. We know what habits we have by the fruit in our life. And so the first thing we have to do when we look at our habits is we have to recognize, what habits do I currently have that are going to not lead me to where I want to go with my health? And so for some of us, it's winging it, right? It's not planning. We have a habit of just winging it. We have a habit of just waking up and figuring it out as we go. And it is a huge bad habit. And I'm guessing if this is your habit with your health, you do this in other areas of your life too, right? But like, nobody plans to fail. Nobody joined this program and said, man, I am totally going to be the biggest failure ever. I'm going to be Carmen's first failure. Yep. I know this has a 100% success rate until I came along. Yep. I'm going to be the first one to fail. He said that, right? But what would cause, eventually, I know eventually someone's going to fail. Like, I know eventually someone's going to someone's probably going to get kicked out of the program. That's eventually what's going to happen. They're just not going to do the things. And I'm going to be like, bye. Haven't had to do it yet, but you can only do this for so long before it happens at some point, right? if and when that ever happens, it won't be because the person started with that intention.
Yeah.
It'll be because their bad habits led them down this path. And so what bad habits is it not planning? Is it putting too much on your saying yes, by the way. Saying yes is a bad habit. I used to have the really bad habit of saying yes. I would say yes to all the things. And then I would be dropping balls because I had too much going on. Okay. I used to have a bad habit of being negative. You can't have a negative mouth and a positive life. Cannot have a negative mouth and a positive life. It does not go together. If you want a positive life, you got to have a positive mouth. And so, secret eating for some of us is a habit. Secret eating is a habit. And here's the thing about secret eating. Like, it never works, does it? Because what we eat in private shows up in public. Like, we're not fooling anybody. I've heard people say so many times, I don't know how she's overweight. She doesn't eat that much, or he doesn't eat that much. And I'm like, yeah, not in front of you. None of us wind up fluffy because we're like, eating our broccoli all day, every day. No, that's not how it works. And so for some of us, secret eating is a habit. Not eating can be a habit. I had the habit forever. When I first got into business, and I just thought outworking everybody was how I was going to do it. And at 22, I built a business I got my first business up to $1 million by working 80 hours a week. And I thought that was the way to do it. The only way I knew how to go succeed was just to work like a crazy person. And so that was a horrible habit, was just, I had no boundaries with anything. If something needed to be done, I was the one doing it. And so there's all different kinds, and our habits show up in our life. So our bad health habits show up in our health. Our bad spending habits show up in our bank account. Our bad relational habits, our bad communication habits show up in our relationships. If we have poor communication, it shows up in all of our relationships, right? So our habits show up all over our life. So all we have to do is look at our life, and our life will show us what our bad habits are. So when you find a bad habit, it's not about beating yourself up for it. Listen, it's never about, when you find a weakness, when you find something that's stopping you. And, it was really great. I think it was Anya that came in the group this morning after I talked about showing up. And listen, this is not optional. And, one of the things that Anya said, and she couldn't have been more right, is don't beat yourself up. Like, don't cry over spilled milk. You can't, like, when you see a weakness that exposes itself, you can't beat yourself up over it. It's like, aha, I found it. Like, I found this thing that's stopping me. The focus should not ever be on beating yourself up. The focus should be on, what am I going to do next to overcome this? What am I going to do next to make sure this doesn't happen again? What am I going to do in the future to set myself up for success? And so when we find our bad habits, it's like, okay, I need to get rid of this bad habit. But the only way that we can truly get rid of a bad habit, once we find out what it is what habit needs to go in its place. Because if you just get rid of the bad habit and you don't put something in its place, it will come back. If you don't create a good habit to go where the bad habit went, it will come back. And so my question for you this week, what is one or two bad habits that need to go? And what is the first thing you're writing on your habit tracker?
Habit that needs to go for me for sure is like not getting up with my alarm, pushing like that. That's one of them. And sort of winging it is another. And the first thing I'm going to put on my habit tracker would be the getting up. I want to get up at 7 every day, regardless of how late I'm kept awake. Yeah, that's it. Because I feel like getting up at 7 would also pave the way for a lot of the other things that need to be, rectified, like winging it if I have more time in the morning for planning.
Alrighty. So
The big one, that I'll probably put on my tracker right now is kind of the opposite of Angela, but it's going to bed on time. I've moved it a little bit. I don't go to bed at midnight anymore, but I'm still pushing 11, and with the schedule, it does not help. And now that, we're creating this new habit of waking up at 6 to exercise, I need to be in bed by 10. Like, that is my goal. I think if the kids go to bed, 8, 9-ish, then that 1 hour to figure stuff out and just prep for the next day is enough time. Unless I'm like hosting a huge party, but that happens like, a couple times a year. It's not a big deal. But that's a sleep one. And I'll probably challenge my brother with this too, because Dennis, you have a very, 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 very bad habit of going to bed really, really late. So he needs to work on that too. And I'll talk to him in person next week. And then another one that I would challenge myself, which we are working on because innately, inherently we're part of the program. And so we can't do a lot of takeout, right? That's not conducive to the program. It's a no-go. But in the future, when you're talking about habits and doing that very fast, easy, quick fix takeout, I think coming up with the strategy of how to deal with those moments and better planning, or doing some sort of freezer meal thingy where when I am in that situation, it's not Pizza Hut. It's, pulling something out of the freezer. I love Pizza Hut, folks. So, and that's another thing that I will talk to Dennis about, and I will challenge Dennis about takeout. They love the takeout. And so I think, and it's spendy. I am currently saving a lot of money, folks. A lot of money, because, I have to bring my own lunch. I can't do like Panda Express or Jack in the Box right next to work. I'm just eating my lunch. So it does save money, and yeah, that's a big one to.
All right, so as we all know, my biggest bad habit is not planning. And also winging it, because I feel like I can get away like with things in life, and it, like, even doing this program, like, ah, shit, like I'm winging it. So it's like I feel like today's meeting was all about what I'm going through, because I am not, like, I haven't been able to like narrow it down and plan ahead and say, okay, this is what I'm taking, this is how I'm taking it. And I felt that this weekend when I was away at the wedding, I wasn't prepared. I was in an environment that triggered too many emotions all at once, and I failed. So not only did I feel bad about like failing on myself, I felt bad about failing to my commitment to this. And it was because, again, I was not prepared. So one of my biggest thing that I really have to like get your shit together, girl. Like, this is serious. It's planning, and stop winging through life. So that's what I need to do. And I promise, and I'm saying it here in front of everybody, this week I will be committed and do the things that I have to do. And if I don't do it, I know Carmen's gonna pull my ear out and be like, come over here. But no, but it's like, it's so true. Like, I am feeling a little bit emotional because like today, tonight, this whole meeting is all about all the things that I'm going through right now. So I need to stop winging it and put a plan.
Yeah. So the first bad habit that needs to go is getting home, sitting on the couch and like doom scrolling, or hashtag procrastination. And the other one is being self-deprecating, because I have the habit of like, you know, the expression, well, in French is mieux vaut en rire qu'en pleurer. So it's better to laugh about it than cry about it. So I guess sometimes you just hide the pain with that. And I would go down south and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be like in the sun, being the beached whale and enjoying myself. Like I'm like not saying I'm like, so just for the form, the fluffy part of me was like that. That's how I would portray it. So I have to work on that. And so yeah, so for the good habit, well, actually, I want to put two on my tracker. One that I'm already working on a bit is the procrastination. So when I do get home, I try not to go like straight to my doom scrolling and couch. I try to go like, okay, I have to eat within my window. And then, oh, I have to do a wash. So I replace it with stuff that I need to do around the house. That way I feel more accomplished and it's not putting it off to another day or then having to do it all on the weekend. And the other one is actually with my nighttime routine, shutting off all screens half an hour before and doing some stretching because I know that it'll help the quality of my sleep. And I have been struggling with the quality of my sleep. Like my sleeping window is usually pretty good. It's just the quality of it that hasn't been up to par. And I know that if I do the stretching, it will definitely help. So that's what I'm going to be starting with.
All right. Okay, so I have two. The first bad habit is, I think I mentioned it last week, is executing. Like I said, I kind of overplan and I kind of pile things on every minute. Let's say I'm doing the plan for the day. Every second of the day is accounted for with no room for error. And if I slip up just a little bit, it's like, oh, forget the rest of the day, or not being realistic with my planning. I think that's what it is. Because like I think I mentioned this last week as well, I'm very big on like perfection, everything looking very pretty and just, butterflies and roses. And so once I don't meet the butterflies and roses, it's like, to heck with whatever that is. So I've been working on planning realistic, making realistic plans and executing them better and well and not giving, I don't know how I got here, but I give myself the okay, like, oh, it's all right. Let's try again tomorrow. I and I don't give that same, level of grace to my kiddos. Like, no, like we're this is gonna happen. And I don't know how I'm not that way with myself, but so that's what I'm working on. So executing and following through with what I plan or what I say is going to happen. And the second is, Lordy, lying in bed in the mornings. And it doesn't help that, you get the pregnant excuse. Oh, you're pregnant. It's like almost like, oh, you're pregnant. You can eat whatever you want and just gain the 80, 90 pounds that you're normally used to gaining with every 4 other pregnancies that I've had. No, and it stalls my morning because if I lie in bed a little too long, then the nausea kind of kicks in because, oh, I haven't eaten anything and I've just been sedentary for too long. And now I'm nauseated. And now it's like, oh, I don't think I can work out. I'm really nauseated. And then now my morning, there go the executing, not following through with my morning workouts. And morning workouts really set my day. So I used to do this thing. I I follow Mel Robbins a lot, and she has this like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just like jump out of bed like a rocket. And I used to do it so well. Like I got into the habit of doing it, waking up and getting it done, and then a couple days of not doing it, I fell back to where I am, and I haven't been able to stop this spiral down of laying in bed for no reason, scrolling for no reason. So I'm happy we did talk about this today, because I've been wanting to stop, and it's just been, do it. I'm gonna do it soon. But looks like tomorrow will be that day, and I'm 5, 4, 3, 2, 1ing my mornings again. And yeah.
Okay. So 2 habits that need to go. Number 1, same as Svetlana, I have not been going to bed on time, or anyway, I just let it kind of drag on, trying to get the kids settled. So I'll put on my habit tracker, and it's really gonna have a reverse good effect on my kids. And okay, I have to get their bedtime going earlier so that I can get to bed on time. Everybody wakes up earlier, so everybody's sleepy again when it's time to be sleepy, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I definitely need to go to bed on time, because I have found I hit these pockets in life where I just am wandering around the house. It seems like for an hour at night, just trying to find this, do this, whatever, when I should just go to bed. Like, do it tomorrow. It'll still be there. So, and then my second one was not filling my gallon at night. So that was my original plan. I'm going to fill a gallon of water, put it in the fridge. So yeah, I've been winging the gallon for sure. I've been drinking all day, but I haven't been filling the gallon, pouring it out of the gallon. So that's going to be my next, be specific and actually do what I said I was going to do.
And so those were all so good. And I'm really proud that you guys are really looking for not the easiest one, but the one that's going to make the biggest difference. And, you know, the first step really is saying it. The first step really is being like, okay, here's where I struggle. This is my biggest issue. I'm tackling it. Like, just saying it out loud. And I would really encourage you guys, when you're talking about the thing that you want to change, to really replace that want with will. So it's not, I want to go to bed at 10. I want to go to bed at 9. I want to get up at 7. I will. Tomorrow's the day. Want has left the building. This is no longer a want. This is no longer a hope. This is no longer a prayer. This is happening. This is going downtown now. So when you say like, I want, it's a non-committal statement, right? It's something you're hoping that is going to happen. But when you say I will, that is a statement of commitment. That is a statement of this is happening. And so just to start to change the want from will, I will do this, I will do that. Now, does that mean that everything you say is you will do is always going to happen? No, not at all. But you will see the highest performers, the highest level athletes, they say things like, I will win, I will do this, I will do that. It doesn't always happen. You have 2 people trying to win the Super Bowl. They both believe so much they're going to win that they have all the t-shirts printed that say Super Bowl champions in the back. Think about it. They spend how much money printing a shirt that says Super Bowl champions that literally go in the dumpster. But they have to have that belief that tonight is the night we are wearing these shirts that says Super Bowl champs. So it's having that same belief in yourself, getting the t-shirt printed and being like, bam, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm going. This is who I am. I can remember buying a size small dress that had the back and the midriff cut out when I was 220 some pounds. Hanging it up in my closet saying, I will wear this. And then trying it on, and I think it only fit on one leg. Right? Like, but having the faith that someday this will happen. That someday I'll wear a two-piece. That someday I'll be the before and after. Someday I will be on someone's wall as their goal. Someday. That is where I'll be. And so as you come into this 4th week, it's really looking at everything. All these bad habits, figuring out what habits are holding you back, and what do we need to put in its place to get to where you want to get to where you want to go. And then also taking a moment and just recognizing in the past 3 weeks, look at all the wins you guys have had as we were going through those standings tonight, and you heard those numbers: 15 pounds, 11 pounds, 12 pounds, 8 pounds, 10 pounds, 6.2 pounds. That is what you have done in the past 3 weeks. Think about all the progress you've made. All the check-ins, all the workouts, all the water, all the things. Because you're no longer talking about doing it. You're actually doing it. You're doing the hard things, and your progress is being noticed.